Professional communication and relationships. Hi, y'all. Christy here again. This is my favorite section and really favorite aspect of leadership and management. We all know too well those pitfalls, those times that we walk away saying to ourselves, "What were you thinking? What did you just say?" As well as those moments when we hit it out of the ballpark to convey exactly what we mean without insulting the person receiving our message. We are going to address communication as it relates to the workplace and professional conduct. Let's get right to it. Here are our objectives for this lecture PowerPoint. Before we jump into the movie clip, I'd like to share a quote I heard a while back. Marshall Thurber proclaims, quote, "Communication is the result that you get," end quote. Let's stop for a moment and think about that statement. The result that you get. Communication isn't just about words, it is what we communicate, period. That creates the outcome. When you hear someone say, "We just don't communicate," well, that's not true. We all communicate. It's just a matter of how we communicate. Is it adversarial? Is it therapeutic? And how about those nonverbal cues? Take something as simple as "good morning." Depending on the tone and the expression, that could be either kind or demeaning. Let's take a look at this clip from the movie The Proposal. Although funny, it is a great way to begin our communication section. By the way, we will end the lecture with a little humor too. Go ahead and click on the link, hit open link, and it'll take you out of the PowerPoint onto YouTube. Just resume the slides when you are done. Is that not a good clip? That exchange highlights the issues listed in this next slide. Take a look at these. We face each of these issues every day in the workplace. As a managing nurse, you will unfortunately face many, if not all, these. Not only behavioral issues, but behaviors motivated by power struggles. Heck, healthcare is full of power struggles. There is a hierarchy, and that is just the way it is. It does not preclude one from acting professionally, but the reality is there are those who face a much greater level of liability than others. And that responsibility and subsequent stress may very well manifest via one's behavior. Although we should be more professional than Sandra Bullock was, again, it's a movie, but you get it. This circumstance is all too common. Managing, whether it be patient care, other staff, or an organization, from CNA to CNO, we must be ethical and moral and know our rules. Rules include regulations, institutional, state, and federal. Let's look at these issues in detail. I placed a variety of resources in the module. There is so much out there about professional communication and other managing techniques as they relate to working relationships that are all worthwhile. Sift through and enjoy. Take tardiness, no-shows, or one's sense of entitlement and/or defiance. I mentioned you are likely to encounter these circumstances, but I posit that many of these behaviors, are more common now than even just say 10 years ago. As a society, these behaviors are accepted, right? We live in a time when bad is good and good is bad. And to add to it all, we face the cancel culture phenomenon, whereby just about anything you say can be viewed as discriminatory or offensive in some way or another. It's just the reality. Does that mean that we acquiesce to this in nursing? I'm a bit of an old dog, been an RN for 27 years, so my immediate response is a resounding no. However, we must work with what we are given. We too learn every day. Effective communication is definitely a learned skill. Always approach the employee directly. Keep them in the context. Empathy goes a long way, and be very cautious about how you use and disseminate information about individual employees. There is confidentiality in nearly everything we do. In healthcare, we have HIPAA. In education, we have FERPA. And in human resources, we have protections as well, employees and employers. We talked about using ADPI to approach organizational assessments. Well, we can use care planning as an approach to managing others and incorporating our overall leadership style. The first thing that comes to mind is when we care plan, we take into account the individual patient. We ensure the plan is measurable and realistic. For example, we cannot create the following care plan. Patient will ambulate independently 250 feet by post-op day 2. If 1, his baseline is using a front wheel walker, and 2, he just had a left BKA, right? Okay, so just as we approach our patients as individuals, we too approach employees as individuals. Now don't get me wrong, there are our job descriptions and you can either meet those or not. But we are talking about documenting and resolving employee concerns to ensure those job duties are accomplished, not the duties themselves. Be specific, make the behavior measurable, and be positive. While I was getting my business degree years ago, I had a business communications professor teach us about crafting what is referred to as the non-routine letter. Those are the letters we receive in the mail that have to give us bad news, such as, Dear Christy Gonder, thank you for your interest. However, you were not selected for this position. These letters should always carry a positive tone, despite the bad news. In which way? We sandwich the bad news. That is, start positive, give the bad news, and then end with a positive again. This is important. Even with employee performance and behavioral issues, there are good things about that person, which should be acknowledged. And if not, perhaps, just perhaps, you are too late in addressing the issue. Nonetheless, not only is positivity important because it highlights what they do that is right, but you want to motivate and inspire others to do well and capitalize on their strengths. This statement captures it well. People who feel good about themselves produce good results. Let's look at employee reviews. There are key steps to any praise or reprimand. Number 1, tell the person beforehand that you are going to talk with them. Give them a courtesy heads up. Number 2, praise, reprimand immediately. Never wait until the annual review. Why? Good or bad behavior needs to be acknowledged throughout the year. I have always said no one should ever walk into their annual evaluation, myself included, and feel uneasy about how it's going to go. Performance feedback should be constant. Number 3, be clear about the praise or reprimand. Again, specific. Number 4, this is an important one. Tell them how you feel about the behavior. Give them a few moments to pause and reflect on that. Number 5, let them know you are in their court. Perhaps shake hands, gently touch, but be authentic. Number 6, remind them the value they bring to the organization. Number 7, reaffirm that you are optimistic as things move forward. This is not about the person per se. It is about the performance or behavior. This is key to differentiate between the two. And last, number 8, realize that affirmation is pervasive, which is good. It's contagious. while reprimand needs to be done when it's done. Don't keep bringing it up. Permit time to improve and learn. And finally, document, document, document. So like care planning, the exchange is clear, specific, measurable, achievable, and documented. If you didn't document, it didn't happen. Your approach will differ whether you are autocratic, transformational, or task-oriented. Examples of management leadership styles. But the premise still stands. I once had a surgeon say to me, "You rarely see Dr. Blank get sued because he is so nice to his patients." Conversely, the arrogant, condescending physician seems to be pulled into court nearly every week. I'm embellishing, of course, but you get my drift. People tend to be more apt to forgive and show empathy if the offender exhibits the same qualities. As a nurse manager, your primary focus and responsibility are the nurses for whom you oversee, while the nurse is about the patient. What I mean by this is that although the patient or customer is part of the big picture, it is the staff, not patient, the manager oversees. The nurse manager ensures the bedside nurse has the KSAs, knowledge, skills, and ability, to provide safe, competent patient care. I hope that makes sense. Managing means getting things done through people. This is precisely why professional communications are so important. Other managing responsibilities include restraining costs, documenting and improving sentinel events such as CAUTI, catheter-acquired urinary tract infections, and ensuring staff are current on licenses and professional certifications, and CEs or CEUs, continuing education credits. Recall when I encouraged each of you to look at your employer's mission and philosophy. Always keep that in the back of your mind when evaluating staff. Take retail giant Walmart. There are 4 key beliefs within their organizational structure. Number 1, service customers. Number 2, respect for the individual. Number 3, strive for excellence. And number 4, action with integrity. Wow, these would work in healthcare too. Never underestimate an industry's contributions as a successful business. Healthcare too is a business. Yes, we take care of people's lives as opposed to a purchased item such as we see with retail, but we still have operating budgets and other business tasks that are essential to ensure we keep our doors open. Professional communication begins with you. All of these attributes are essential, as discussed thus far. EIEQ is a hot topic in today's workplace, emotional intelligence or emotional IQ. You will see a video I posted where you can take an EI quiz. I like these kinds of online inventories. Very important in business because it makes us stop and reflect on ourselves and others. It promotes self-assessment while appreciating others' perspectives and point of reference. Differences infer diversity, and we want this. Not all of us are visual or auditory, nor are we all outgoing versus introverts, etc. Those differences are what make our organizational relations so rich. Team building equals teamwork. When we have an effective team, we can engage in conflict resolution and embrace opportunities for problem solving. We know how important documentation is. Whether it be patient care or employee interactions, it all revolves around proving what we did and the decisions behind our actions. The legal, moral, and ethical principles shall always be at the forefront of what we do. I hope you have not had the unfortunate pleasure to be pulled into court as a nurse. It's not fun. Those attorneys can make the best of the best nurses cry. I once attended a malpractice conference with my ex-husband, who is a personal injury lawyer. How does that happen? A personal injury lawyer marries a nurse, right? Anyway, while there, I was talking with a 30-plus year experienced trial attorney who chatted me up knowing I am a nurse and teach nursing. He asked me, "Do you know what the number one reason is for nurses to be pulled into civil litigation?" My immediate response was negligence of some sort, a safety event. He said, it is failure to rescue. And it isn't just about acting during an emergency, like calling a rapid response. It is more often the little things the nurse omitted or, yes, acted negligently, like not recognizing an early yet subtle symptom, not reviewing home medications to assess which ones may need to be restarted while hospitalized, or not following through with necessary labs, if not ordered, such as daily INRs while on Coumadin, or overlooking charting a fall risk every shift, including the actions entailed for fall prevention. You may chart yes, but was the bed alarm on? Was the alarm pad on the chair when you got your patient out of bed? Every nurse action carries with it intentionality and rationale. Recall, if you didn't chart it, you didn't do it. But maybe even more important, if you charted it, you did do it. But what if you didn't? How easy is it to get pulled away while documenting? Again, intentionality. Review the textbook about compact status. This is a great way to work around the nation or neighboring states without a primary RN license in that state. States do vary, and not all participate in the compact consortium. Hint, our neighboring state, Washington, does not. In general, it is your union states. Washington and California are West Coast states that can be used as examples. We continue with legal implications. Know the terms listed here. These continue from the prior slide. We talked earlier about collective bargaining and nurses' unions in relation to governance. I included a short video about a nurses' strike. Again, click on the video, go out to YouTube, then come back. What are your thoughts? Workplace safety are valid concerns, but walking out due to wage or other compensation benefits, I'm not here to say yay or nay for unionizing. I simply caution against allowing oneself to get to the point of walking out to join a picket line when some of the demands unions make for the collective may not be in your best interest, nor your patients. Not always the case, but just be mindful. Okay, continuing with legal implications, and yes, still our patients. How do DNRs, DNIs work? Do not resuscitate versus do not intervene. DNR orders can be very specific, limited, or partial. For example, the order may stipulate that you can do chest compressions but no airway, or vice versa, or may do CPR and airway but no meds. We are responsible as the primary nurse to know when and if to act if our patient codes. I worked with a nurse several years ago on a surgical unit who called the code blue on one of her patients whom she was unaware was a DNR. The sticker had not been placed on the outside of the chart. These are the days before computer charts, although the DNR form was filed inside. Anyway, the patient's wife, who happened to be a cardiac nurse, came walking in during the code and stopped it, yelling, "He is a DNR." She threatened to sue because the code team had brought him back. In the end, she did not sue, and he did pass away a few days later in the ICU. But lesson learned. Even out of the goodness of your heart and acting based on what you've been taught, this may not be what your patient wants. By the way, this is a nurse whom I have great respect for and enjoyed working with. She is very diligent and thorough, great with patients and staff. She simply responded. With code status comes family dynamics. Talk about power struggles. Seeing dissonance among family members when deciding what to do with mom or dad or grandpa or grandma is heart-wrenching. But this is exactly why people are encouraged to complete their durable power of attorney and living will while cognitively capable. The video on this slide, again, you'll be redirected out to YouTube, depicts this issue, which created national attention back in 2012. Thoughts? Well, perhaps this would be make a great discussion topic. We are wrapping it up. In conclusion, these are our key takeaways. It is about you. No, not necessarily, but what it is about is your conscientious efforts about yourself and motivating and or supporting others. Be sure to review the Word document in the module folder regarding change theories. Not only are the various approaches to change theory informative for everyday communications, but they are helpful as you craft your infographic project. This slide, okay, is this not hilarious? And so true. Listen, we have to have humor. And what makes things like these so funny is that there is an element of truth to it. I thought this was great to end the presentation because we need humor in our line of work to maintain our sanity. The final slide is the reference list. Have a great week. And as always, let me know if you ever have any questions. Bye now.